Alright guys, we're back again. Today we got a call from a homeowner saying she's got water pouring down in the basement and she doesn't know where it's coming from. So once we got there, we start diagnosing the issue and we see the galvanized pipe. It's all corroded and all pitting, and that's more or less where the water is coming from. So I'm thinking it's gonna be galvanized pipe and I'm gonna have to break up the whole walls to replace this for copper or pegs. So I start diagnosing a little further, and I'm like, okay, so I keep on talking to the homeowner. When did it start? She's like, well, it just started yesterday, and we woke up and it's all wet all over the place. So I asked her, why is the valve off to the ice maker? She's like, that's been off for about 3 years. So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna take that in consideration. So we start pulling the fridge out, and boom, I see it's leaking. I'm like, wait a minute. So the valve is off, but there's still a slow drip coming from the ice maker line. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I determined it has to be the shutoff valve, that it's not shutting off completely and still pressurizing the line. So I do a little further, and I'm gonna see if the galvanized pipe is leaking also. So I get my camera, make a little hole in the wall, and I stick my camera inside there. Sorry for the bad quality, but it is what it is. I try to record it the best I can so I can show you guys more or less what I'm dealing with. So I stick the camera inside the wall. Again, you can see here's all the plaster. You see all the lath. So I'm looking for the galvanized pipe, and I don't see no pipe anywhere in this wall. I look to the right, I go to the left, up and down, nothing. Then I determined that this was like a false wall. It was like a double wall, and the galvanized pipes were on the other side of the fridge. So I'm like, okay, there's no way I could check those lines if it's leaking. So we're just gonna start with the ice maker valve, and we'll go from there. Once I replace that, we'll see if that stops the leak. So that's what I started doing. I start taking everything apart, and I leave the water on to the house because I want to see if the valve's still leaking when the water off. So I start disconnecting the ice maker line from the valve, and this thing is super tight. Whoever installed this added Teflon to the compression sides on both of the valves, on the 1/4 inch side and the 1/2 inch side. You guys, if you're going to install a compression, do not use Teflon. The Teflon does not do anything. It actually makes the compression leak, and it makes you tighten the compression harder than you need to. So don't use Teflon. As you can see here, the valve is off and it's still dripping. So I definitely know it's the valve. So I shut the water up to the house, and we're gonna start replacing this valve for a new one. And customer is so far happy because I'm telling her I'm 100% positive that it's this valve leaking, and well, it's the valve not holding and the line that's leaking. So she's like, oh, thank God it's not that galvanized pipe, and she's all happy. But I took the valve off, and I got my Ferrule remover, which removes the Ferrule. Every time I replace a compression and I have space, I try to remove the Ferrule, and I put a new Ferrule in here. This is a great tool to remove the Ferrule. I'll link it on the description below. I know there's a couple guys that use a different type of tool. This is a tool I have, and it's been working flawless. So anyhow, I removed the Ferrule, and I put the new nut and a new Ferrule. And again, guys, no Teflon, just pipe dope, so it could give some lubrication to the compression nut. Once you start tightening, snug it up. Not super tight, just snug enough that it's nice and tight. You don't have to go killing it. All right. So once I tighten that up, turn the water back on, and I make sure the valve is not leaking, and we're good to go. Here's a little closer look at the Ferrule remover tool I use, and here's the Borescope 1/4 turn garbage that you guys love to use. You guys bust my balls about using multi-turn, and look at this, 1/4 turn, and it failed. So I always use multi-turn. 1/4 turn, I don't like them. They don't have packing nuts, and I guess this is another consideration that I have to think about for the compression nuts. If you live in North Jersey, need some plumber work done, residential, commercial, let us know. See you on the next one. See ya.